It's 12 o'clock a.m. on April 26th, and you're watching Michael's Vlog. Today was kind of uneventful, relatively, among many other days. I guess this is the ordinary time in our lives. But let's quickly get into the good and bad for the day because I guess that's how we try to appreciate and look for the different parts of the day, which are a bit more interesting, so to speak. Probably the bad for today is that definitely we did get a little bit distracted after dinner. So we had dinner at around 8 o'clock because I fell asleep when I got home from work. And uh, getting distracted because I already did the other daily tasks in the morning. So I read in the morning, also exercised, and this is the last one for today. And because we didn't really have anything else to do, I kind of got distracted and let the time pass. I guess it's a constant reminder of how much time we actually spend online. So, yeah, we ended up spending a lot more time than we should have online. I should have been asleep an hour ago because I need to wake up in the morning at 6 o'clock or 5:30. So, yeah, but we're not. We're doing pretty fine. I'll go to bed right after this video, and there's still a lot of time to rest. There's still a lot of time to commute. What's the good for today? Definitely one of the highlights for today is that in one of the experiments that I did, it's right there in my room as well. The experiment of superworms. Um, for some context, I bought a superworm. I bought 100 superworms to start a colony of superworms, or how other people call them, Morio worms, to help in my campaign for identifying which is the best way to create compost. Um, and it turns out that these worms can actually eat styrofoam, which is definitely not one of the worst plastic pollutants that we have, but it's still definitely a plastic pollutant. So if it doesn't help in composting at all, it's definitely become an avenue for us to see how to deal with styrofoam waste. And uh, that's actually one of the highlights a few days ago. We did find out that they actually do eat styrofoam. So that's amazing. What I did find out actually today, which is actually different from a lot of content that you can find online, I just left them alone and I found one of the worms actually go into the metamorphosis state, which is actually very interesting, and that really brings a lot of happiness for me because nowhere else uh, can you actually see that there's a setup in which this happens on their own. Most of the tutorials that you find online actually involve the superworms actually needing to be forced into a metamorphosis state or to pupate. But in this case, I think maybe we'll make a separate video about it. But in my setup, there was a situation, or there are actually a lot of them that I think are getting into that phase right now, that they're actually doing it naturally and on their own accord. So others would suggest that we take a couple of worms out, isolate them, and then they're gonna be forced into the pupates, into the metamorphosis state because of the lack of food. But what I found is that because I do provide a lot of food, I think we're not supposed to overfeed them either. I feed them once or twice a week, but they did eventually, some of them are going into the pupates, to the metamorphosis state on their own. So that's really a highlight for me. It's a really good thing for today. I think maybe when it comes to building habits or doing experiments, it's easier for you to do when it's in some place convenient. um, I actually have a different compost setup, which would be more likened to traditional composting, but I have it downstairs somewhere near the garage or in somewhere near my garden. It's not somewhere that I can just pull out from near my desk and check on every now and again. I actually have to take the effort to go out. And I know it might seem like that's not a lot of effort to walk a couple of feet to go outside, but the point is, it's not as convenient. I think the same thing is true for any habit that you create. Um, Reading the book or exercising. If you can do these things inside your room or someplace that it's in your general view, you pass by it all the time. It's gonna be easier for you to get like ease in to that habit. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. That's it for tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow.